and gentlemen, it's that time of the week again where we get together and we argue very, very factually, sometimes not factually, about the things going on in the world of football. So I'm glad you can be with us here on this episode of Chibububu. We've got a lovely panel of guests. I've got Tate, our resident Man City expert. He's going to be very angry that I said Man United. And then we've got Ushe, who is a resident Man United sympathizer. And then Tendekai and I representing the one and only Arsenal, the pride of North London. So we're glad you can be here with us today, here on this international break weekend. I think all of us are very disappointed that there's no Premier League to talk about for this weekend. But, as an Arsenal fan, we went into the international break on a high. How did you feel about that game, Ushe?
Which game?
Exactly. That's how Ushe felt about that game on Sunday.
Short memory.
No, you know what? I actually, the funny thing is, up until that disastrous, 5 minutes, whatever, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
I was okay with it because I expected worse. Because there's no Mason Mount, you don't have your defenders, a few things. So I thought, but I was actually pleasantly surprised. Mind you, not surprised per se, because I always think whenever there's pressure, you see Ten Hag doing something and they respond. And I think that was the response I expected, but towards the end, because if we're going from you're winning 2-1, and then you give up at the end. So I'm not even disappointed. I'm just more anxious. I want to see Amrabat playing basically, but I think we did well. The scoreline, of course, says something else, but I was actually more impressed with the way we played. I think both teams weren't at their best, but I think it shows that on a good day, if you have your proper team, I think would have been could have won that game basically. So either way,
I think. Yeah, I was just gonna add. I was gonna say that game was the quintessential definition of fine margins. If Gabriel doesn't do his Michael Jackson step back, Garnacho scores, and that goal stands.
That was wrong. That was onside. I'm just saying. Never mind. Onside.
I've seen Man United friends drawing many lines that are not straight.
And Saka should have been sent off. I'm just saying, Saka should have been sent off in the foul to the goal.
I don't actually disagree with that, but I also raise you that Lisandro should have also been sent off. The refs are just pathetic.
Lisandro could have been sent off. Lindelof could have been sent off for a high foot. Saka could have been sent off. There's a lot of it. Those are also part of the fine margins of how is the referee seeing the game, and what is he determining is a foul and is not a foul. Havertz penalty being pulled back, I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But Havertz gets that penalty, then Højlund also gets that other penalty. So there's lots of little things that happened.
That was a penalty, Højlund, yes. And Højlund was impressive, by the way. Can I just say I was impressed by Højlund? I'm actually looking forward to doing more things.
How many minutes
I feel
did he play?
I think he played 20.
I think 20 or so.
With the extra time, it goes closer to 30, but yeah.
Yeah, that extra time was long. Well, anyway, not that we're going to spend our time talking about Arsenal, Man United, but it for years was the draw of the Premier League, and I actually think, if I remember correctly, last year when Man United played Arsenal, it was the most watched game in the United States ever that wasn't a World Cup game. So wow. I think both teams are almost back. It's appointment television. People want to be in front of their screen to watch those games. So anyway, we'll move along. We have a few things to discuss today, and the first is the transfer window has now finally shut on September 1st. So we've come up with predictions throughout the summer of who will have a good window and all these things that are happening. So now that the window's shut, who do you say had the best transfer window? So we'll start with you, Tate.
I can easily go for Man City, but I'll try to be objective here. But I do genuinely think City had a good window, but I don't know if it's translating directly to on the pitch success. But I think if we're judging with the impact based off transfers, I think Liverpool had the best window. They managed to cover up the gaps that we thought they would. I do think they could have done with a center back, but in terms of midfield, the options are exciting.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really have a proper replacement for Fabinho, but if it's about attacking and scoring goals, they really do look good.
Yeah.
There's the one name for that guy that we will not try and butcher, but but I think it's looking good. Diaz is also like a new signing coming back from injury, so I think Liverpool is my pick there.
Okay. Tendekai.
Uh, it's been tough kind of looking at this, but I think I'm actually going to go with City because they do lose quite a few players, but then I think they brought in the right players. In central midfield, they got two, and then Doku. I think personally, I think they paid a bit too much, but I think he could have a good impact. I guess they paid more for the potential, and then Guardiola. I think those were good signings because they're pretty much strengthening a team that was already strong, and then they got some good money in as well. So yeah, I think I'll go with City.
Okay. Tate is very happy to hear that. Ushe?
Nah, City. I don't think nah. City, Liverpool. Nah. I'll go with. I think Brighton had a very good window. Because I think they sold Caicedo for all that money, but it's like they don't even miss the guy. The scouting system is on point. I think, and of course, Ansu Fati and all these guys. So I think they knew in advance that, listen, these guys might go, so let's just scout a few guys. And I mean, imagine you sell them for the players are sold for the amount they sold them for, and then you replace them with like for a fraction of that cost, but the guys just slot in perfectly. I think their squad is actually, so I think they had a very good window. Liverpool, I would say Liverpool, but I still think defense, because this Van Dijk and whoever the guy is partnering with, I really doubt that defense. I don't think they're as good as they used to be. So I think, yes, they got the midfielders, I know those things, but I really do think priority for them would have been that defense. So, but I think Brighton for sure.
Yeah. That's a good shout. I mean, Ansu Fati was a surprise for all of us, and we were all very frustrated that Brighton got him and none of our teams got him. And especially if he turns out to be the Ansu Fati that he was, 2 seasons ago before his injury, the
Right.
up-and-coming star, if he does that. And Brighton seems like the location where that could happen because they just are unearthing gems all the time. For me...
sorry, just to add on.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the Brighton thing, as Ushe said, they got rid of Caicedo for 105 million or whatever, and they got two replacements for free. They got Daoud from Dortmund and James Milner, who can share that load.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's smart. It's knowing who you are and trying to build off of that. Because they very well could have been like, we're in Europe for the first time, let's go out and spend a ton of money. But De Zerbi is going, I want these guys I can work with. And they've looked good, except for that one game that was an anomaly. They've looked good this season so far. So it's interesting. For me, on sheer number, shouldn't it be Chelsea? On just the sheer number of players they got, it should be Chelsea. Should be Chelsea. But I say should because I don't think it's Chelsea. I don't think they won the transfer window. I mean, there's rumors today that we were looking at earlier before we started recording about Enzo Fernandez being frustrated at being at Chelsea. And I'm like, you signed an 8-year contract. You're going to be frustrated for quite a while. And
exactly.
The rest of us non-Chelsea fans have been asking that question of, is this going to backfire? Are you going to sign all these guys to 7- and 8-year contracts and some of them be flops? How are you going to be able to move them? So it seems like we're already starting to have that conversation. Mudryk is struggling.
Yep.
Enzo's talking about wanting to leave. So we'll give Poch his time to gel. So it's not Chelsea. It should be Chelsea. It's not Chelsea. I actually think for me, the winner of the transfer window, to my chagrin, is West Ham. Because if you guys remember episodes ago, I really wanted West Ham to get relegated because I was annoyed by them. But it seems like they've taken that Declan Rice money and done good things. I mean, Mohamed Kudus is a phenomenal player. And
it's a good signing,
it's a very good signing for them. James Ward-Prowse is a Premier League proven player who will get them assists. I think he already has 4 assists on the season because they've got some big defenders that he can just launch corners to. Kurt Zuma, Neaf Aguad. those guys are just going to be feasting on those James Ward-Prowse crosses, and he knows how to play in the Premier League. And then I think Edson Alvarez was a smart signing to replace Declan Rice. He's not Declan Rice, but he can play. He's an Ajax player, so he comes with good technical ability and the ability to hold onto the ball and pass. So I actually think West Ham won the transfer window, and it's odd considering all the way up to like mid-August, I think West Ham hadn't bought anyone, and all the West Ham
No
fans,
signings.
West Ham fans were really frustrated that they hadn't done anything. But the guys that they have actually brought in are guys that jump into their team right away and can start and will make an impact. So that's who I have. And then my what's it called? Honorable mention. We don't talk a lot about non-Premier League game or teams, not because we don't care, we're just not fans in the same way. But I think Jude Bellingham is turning out to be worth the money. If you can say that, can you say over 100 million is worth the money? I guess you can for this guy. I mean, he's doing more than anyone expected him to do in that midfield. So I think Real Madrid worked really hard to give themselves a midfield for the next 6 years, and they have it.
Yeah.
So
they do.
Mm-hmm.
Question to the Gunners: what additional signing would have made the Arsenal window perfect?
A striker.
You know what? A striker, yes. I think that's there's rumors about targeting Ivan Toney in January or Evan Ferguson next year. I think what has discolored the Arsenal window is not necessarily what we did. I think we did. I was so excited about what we did. We went out early. We bought the people we wanted. They were settled. We went to preseason with everyone bought. I think the fact that Timber is out for 7 months after the first game has kind of tainted what that window looks like. Because I think if we still had Dre and Timber playing in that team, I think Arsenal you would easily be able to go. Arsenal probably had a pretty good window without getting a striker, but now it feels like we're still short of a striker and we're short of cover in the back. So that's my thought. What do you think, guy?
Yeah, I think pretty much. If Timber hadn't gotten injured, I think that would have helped, and the strike load, because Jesus gets injured quite a bit, and then I don't think Eddie is good enough to be like carrying the team for long spells. When it's this all depends on the injury record. I think if Jesus is able to stay fit all season, I think they can share the load between the two of them. I think Eddie has improved. I think he's good enough to be like a squad player, come in, start some games and stuff. But I wouldn't be confident with that if we have a stretch of games like last season where he's having to start 10 to 15 games. I just don't think he's that guy.
Yeah. No, I agree there. And also, Tate, it's a good question. And I think the frustration with Havertz is not that it's one that he hasn't played well since we bought him. But now it feels like we got this luxury player and we could have bought other players, especially since our other player got injured for most of the season. And we started the season without Jesus. We started the season without Zinchenko. So like having a $65 million luxury player who's not playing well just makes your window look worse than it might have been.
Does.
So that's my thoughts there.
Agreed.
But now the window's closed. So the window's closed for us, but it's still open a little bit in Saudi Arabia. So we wanted to talk a little bit about Saudi Arabia and their impact on European football, on Premier League football, on football in the world in general. What are your thoughts about what's going on in Saudi Arabia? Tate, you can go first.
So this Saudi thing, initially I thought it was a joke, right? Because obviously Ronaldo, who goes to Saudi, we're like, okay, that's a little place for him to get some money and see out his career. Then obviously now it starts to develop with Chelsea as the window opened, selling like a bulk of their players to Saudi, and then all of a sudden it became a thing and everyone's just flying out.
Yeah.
And then, as I was saying earlier, of pod, that I think they're the ones that actually killed the market or made the market quite complicated in terms of people having to spend more. Liverpool were not planning to replace Fabinho, but now they had to. They weren't planning to replace Henderson, but they had to. Even for City, Mahrez, all those signings that went to the Saudi league have sort of shaken the league. But also, on the same note, as a soccer player and even as a person, you're thinking normally in European football, there are about 20, 30 players that earn above 300,000 a week. But all of a
Yeah.
sudden, as an average player, you get a 400,000. I think
Right.
Henderson's earning like 700 or something.
Uh-huh.
So
Tax free.
tax free, and then you get that sort of offer for 2 or 3 years of playing soccer. It's a tough one to turn down. So it's quite interesting, this Saudi league. Whether it's going to last is a different thing. I mean, I'll hear what you guys have to say. We'll talk about the Salah story later, but this is sort of my thoughts around it.
Yeah. What about you, Ushe?
Yeah.
Initial thoughts about Saudi.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Sancho should go to Saudi. He should give us like 100 million. Let him go. Let him happy. No, but I think the World Cup start. I think the World Cup was like a precursor. I think we didn't really take it seriously because I think what those guys have realized is as much as we want to call it the beautiful game and guys, the passion. I grew up loving United, so I pay for my Bowie team. These guys were like, listen, money runs the world. And to them, they realize,
Right.
listen, we can get whatever we want. It sounds absurd, but we just throw money at it. And they've done that. I think the World Cup was a very good. I think if that hadn't gone that way, like for them to get the World Cup, they were like, wait a minute, so we can control football. So I think now this league, seeing Ronaldo there, were like, and I think of course then
Yeah,
because people were saying like no one dreams of playing in Saudi, but dude, people want money end of the day, and I think
they do.
yeah, and you so I mean of course they tried the what's his name what's this guy's name the PSG striker, what's his name, I forgot the guy.
Mbappe.
Mbappe,
Oh, Mbappe, yeah.
yeah, of course, because he's in a different position. I mean, really has so much money anyway, so he can obviously say, well, no. But I think I don't see it long term lasting because at some point it will get to a point where it levels out a bit. But I think there are and there will be a bit more surprises because they're just chucking money at it. They're literally going to agents saying, listen, how much do you want? We'll give you, we'll make you life comfortable, come. And I think we are now accepting that, wait a minute, so the Premier League is not the best place. Like people actually want to play us because of money. We always thought the glory of the league and Spanish, all these things. So, and especially if they do get the Champions League thing, which I thought was absurd. I'm like, people is taking it seriously. Like what? So yeah. So I think we're just waiting to see. Like we're just waiting to see how far this circus can go. But at the same time, it's happening. People are going saying, "Listen, I'll retire 30 something. I'll be set for life. Why not?" So it's interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with your sentiments, both of you there. Earlier, like Tate said, we were talking a little bit offline, but we were trying to figure out if Saudi Arabia is going to become like what happened with the Chinese Super League. Because there was all those years before in China where they were getting all these big stars and paying them a ton of money, but it only lasted for like 2 years before it wasn't commercially viable. So I'm wondering, I mean, Saudi Arabia is a very, very extremely wealthy country. They've already done this with golf, right? People thought this LIV or this live golf thing wouldn't last, and then all of a sudden they were folded into the PGA. So I'm wondering if they have the same tactic. My biggest question about it is the commercial viability of the actual product. So we were laughing earlier, like there's a game that happened maybe last week between two of their teams. It was 3-1, and then a team came back and won 4-3, and like Mitrovic scored a hat trick. And I swear I still haven't seen the highlights of that game because I don't care. So I'm wondering, am I the anomaly or is that the norm for most football watchers? Because Isusu, us guys will watch a lot of soccer from a lot of different places, but Saudi is just not the place that I've even thought to tune in or to even check who's leading the log or anything like that. So I'm just interested to see like what the commercial impact will be. And that question that you asked about the Champions League, that I think is going to be the crux of the issue. Like, will UEFA cave and allow a Saudi team to join the Champions League? And I think that presents a lot of other challenges. If UEFA does that, I see all those other teams that wanted a Super League going, okay, well, now that you're doing this, we're just going to do our Super League. Exactly. So it's a little bit of cat and mouse that's happening with Saudi, but I think the impact is it's scaring the big five, at least in Europe, to go, oh, we've got to get our ducks in a row because they're coming to steal these players. They're getting players that are in their prime. Gabri Viega, who was touted to go to Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. He went to Saudi at the age of 22. So it's one thing when you're attracting guys in their 30s that are over the hill. It's another thing when you're attracting guys that are getting to their prime or in their prime to come play for you. So yeah, Tindagai. I'll leave it to you to finish us up on there.
Yeah. First up, I just have a similar question to Ushe. Like, how do I put them with? How do I put them in contact with Nico Pepe? Do I need to give them Edu's number? How does this work?
Yeah, give him his agent's number.
Yeah, and we don't even need 70 million. We'll take a young 30. It's cool. Uh, but I think my concerns are pretty much the same as you guys. Like, I think they're going to be a big problem if they actually do keep their promises, as in if they actually honor the contracts that these players have signed and things like that. Because you'll be seeing that. Look, I can in 2 years in Saudi Arabia, I can pretty much earn what I would probably have earned in a, I don't know, 10, 12 year playing career. So, and when you think about it, I guess logically, I think, yes, we talk about soccer and passion, but even as a person working in business, if I'm at my job right now and I'm offered a job, I guess, let's just use Saudi Arabia. I'm offered a job in Saudi Arabia that's going to pay me 15 times more than I'm earning. I'm like, I can be like, look, it might not be the best country in the world, but I can sacrifice 3 years to go live there because that's going to set me up for life. So I think if they do actually keep their promises, they're definitely going to be a big problem, because I think players would start considering it that way. Because even look at China, I guess because they had their problems, so people came back. But like Drogba came back and yeah, he actually did well for Chelsea. He won another Premier League, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, after he came back. So you can be like, look, I'm like Gabri Vega, be like, look, I'm 22. I'm gonna do this thing for the next 3 years till I'm 25. I can always go back to Europe and play for another 10 years, no problem. But my money is sorted.
Yeah. So if you're Liverpool, do you sell Mo Salah for 200 million? What do you do with that Mo
Sell the
Salah
guy,
bid? Because
guys.
they're
Sell the
showing that
guy.
they've got money.
Sell him. 200
You sell the
million,
guy?
guys. Sell that man.
him.
Sell him, bruh.
Now you saw. You definitely saw.
Sell him.
Okay. So I think we're unanimous on that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you sell. I sell. You know, I sell, and then the problem with when you sell something for something so publicly, which United, Arsenal, City, we've all recognized this now, is when you flex that you have money, then you just get fleeced for everyone else that you want to buy. But
Exactly.
200 million goes a long way. 200 million doesn't get you Mo Salah back, but it gets you a guy that can be Mo Salah.
Wait, have you
right?
seen? Is it just me? Has anyone also see this going around social media where they're like, oh, they should have taken the 200 million, then gone to Arsenal and paid 150 million for Saka. I'm like, really? We just saw you got 200 million.
That's crazy.
Firstly, I don't think Saka would leave. Secondly, we just saw you got 200 million. Why the heck would you be selling him to you for 150 million?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I saw that one and I just laughed it off. I'm like, it's you know, we need to have a conversation about pull, because it's odd to me that Liverpool fans can go around on the internet saying, "Oh yeah, sell him for 200 and go get Saka for 100." They failed to get Bellingham, they failed to get Caicedo, they failed to get Lavia. What makes them think they're going to be able to come and get Saka?
That's the thing.
That was
And I think for 200, obviously you sell, but like when they sold what's his name, Coutinho, that's when they did their rebuilds. So if
Right.
they sell for 200, they can rebuild with like either three signings for, like 75 and a $50 million player, or you can grab 4 or 5 players, get a CB, get a holding midfielder, get whatever player they need. Then they're back in business.
Who
So
would you be getting? Like, do you have any names that you think they could target? If
they could go for.
you're the Liverpool whatever technical director right now, you've got 200 million in the coffers. Let's go. Who are you buying? Top of list.
Well, you can go for Florian Wirtz, right, from Bayern Leverkusen, who I mean I think is slightly overrated, but his numbers look very good, and I think would fit in that Liverpool structure, especially if he's going to be replacing Mo Salah in an attacking position and contribution. They already have ability to score goals from Diaz, and if Nunes starts being Nunes. So, but definitely then you look for a CB. I'm not sure which CB you can find, but there's a better
Maguire.
CB than Maguire might be the guy. For the holding position, that's those the players that they're looking for are tough to find. But or you can go get Barella from Inter.
Oh yeah, that guy's a baller.
Yeah, it's good.
That guy's
Well, I thought,
Oh,
I
oh,
thought, I think if I was the Liverpool guy, if it was just a direct for 200 million, I'll try my best to like maybe get Rafa Leao for like maybe 150 or below, and then go get another DM. That would be my top of the list.
Or you do this 200 mil, go and buy Victor Osimhen straight away.
ooh,
Ooh, yeah.
That's true.
But
Yeah,
but
I mean, 200 million gives you so many options, you know?
You see?
yeah, that's,
But anyway, we don't want to
Liverpool's
help
really
Liverpool
tough.
out here, so it's okay.
They're not
True.
gonna they're
Stop
not gonna
listening,
listen to
Klopp.
us. I'm sure, you know, I'm with you, Tate. Like, I would take 200, spend 100 on someone, and then 50-50 on someone else and someone else. You know,
Yeah.
there's always up and coming central defenders that you can get in the 40 to 50 range. I mean, we bought Saliba for 28. We bought Gabriel for 25. How much was Lisandro? Lisandro was 40, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
region.
Lisandro was 40. Akanji was 20 something. Ake was 40. So those are all five of those center backs I've listed would start at Liverpool. Does anyone have an argument about that?
No, they would start.
That what?
They would. I said all five of
start,
those
for sure.
guys that I just named will start at Liverpool. So if we can get that type of guy, I think Liverpool can go and get a guy to play with Van Dijk to back up. To play with Van Dijk to make Konate a backup guy, and then try spend 100 and get a up and coming winger, or 125 and see if you can make Milan budge on Rafa Leao, or go to Napoli, see if you can budge on that Kvaratskhelia kid. So
Exactly.
there's options.
Yeah.
There's options out there, or even they can even go to Chelsea and see if Chelsea will take 50 for Mudryk. You know, there's options.
They might.
There's options. There's options. So so I think we're all in agreement. We'd pay the 200. We'd take the 200 and do something.
If for me personally, if they came and gave us like 250 million for Saka, just because I'm an Arsenal fan, I would actually go to Bayern Munich in January and be like, here's 200 million, Harry Kane, come. That would so annoy them.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true. So true.
I've got a question.
Come on, Harry.
If United bid, let's say, 150 million to Arsenal for Saka, and they accepted it, do you think Saka will come to United?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think at this point in his career he would. I think if he was at Arsenal for another 2 years and we didn't win anything, all bets are off.
Yeah.
But at this point, having grown up in the academy and seeing where the trajectory of the team is, I think he stays for a little bit longer. This week he just won England's Player of the Year for the second year in a row. So it's not like he's languishing. He just turned 22 yesterday or the day before.
That's true.
And Ushe, same question. If we came in with 150 million for Marcus,
nah, he wouldn't go there, man. He's not coming to you guys. Nah, he's not doing it.
No, Marcus will never come to us. I've literally listened to him talk on a podcast about how he would not play for Arsenal.
He wouldn't.
So he wouldn't do that. But it's there's very rare teams. Like, we make this joke all the time because we talk about our kids and going, hey, if people ask me, hey, if Tottenham tried to sign your son, would you tell him to go? And tongue in cheek, I'm like, no, he can never play for them. But it's a career, like we just said with Saudi. You're getting paid 400 million a week to kick a ball around.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to go, you know what? Yes, I grew up loving Arsenal and being on the red side, but if Tottenham's going to pay me this much, I'm going to go play.
If Arsenal came to me and said, we want your son, I'd be like, well, I mean, how come United didn't come beforehand? Just go to Arsenal, he'll play. Let him go.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's all fun and games when it's hypotheticals, but when it comes push comes to shove, I'm like, yeah, go play for United, go play for Tottenham.
Oh, I've got a question.
Be successful.
I've got a question, guys.
Go ahead.
Someone explain to me how Rashford wasn't on the shortlist for the Ballon d'Or, guys. After the season,
is he not on there?
He's not.
Yeah,
after the season,
that one I don't know. But what's his name? Kolo Muani is on it.
I don't know.
I don't know why he's not on
there, guys.
That was a shocker. Kolomani was a shocker, to be honest.
I'm not biased. I'm just saying, even that Barca guy, who was only played 3 games, was on there.
Yeah.
What?
I can't think of 30 players that were better than Rashford last year.
Yes. And I've seen United fans sulky. The only thing I'll say, like when I saw that, I was like, yeah, it sucks. It's stupid that he's not there. But we all know you're not going to win. So for me, where people are like, Saka is on it, I'm like, yeah, that's great. I know he's not going to win. So it means something, but it doesn't mean much. But it is very ridiculous that Rashford isn't in the top 30 players with the
Yeah,
season he had last year.
Because Julian Alvarez made it, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
yeah, that's odd.
I'm shook.
It's odd. It's odd to me. Okay, well, let's round us off with this conversation. The Champions League is on the horizon. For us Arsenal fans, it's been 6 long years.
Welcome back.
6 long years watching Thursday night football or not watching any European football at all. So we're so glad to be back. So yeah, so let's talk about the Champions League. My first question is for why don't you tell me who you think your potential winners are after seeing the draw, seeing how the groups fell? Who do you think has the best chance of getting out of the group and maybe making it all the way to the final? Where are they playing this year? I don't even remember
Wembley.
where the final is.
Wembley.
Oh yeah, making
Really?
it to the home of football. Yeah. So yeah, who do you have, Uche? Who do you think gets out of the group and makes waves?
The United fan in me, of course, I will not put a City near anything. City, I think, we lose in the group stages. That's the United team. I can't say anything else. I think.
You think they're gonna lose to Young Boys, Red Star Belgrade, and RB Leipzig? I think they beat Leipzig 8-0 on aggregate last year.
Yeah, I know, but things are difficult now. They're too hyped. They're too comfortable. Let them. No, I'm joking. No, I think Bayern, because of the Kane man, that guy.
Yeah.
I think that alone. I think I would have said Bayern way below, but just the fact that they've got Kane says a lot. There'll be games where they'll be rubbish, but give that guy a sniff and just score. I think City with this guy with this little Haaland guy. I've been watching the games so far this season, even some games last season. I think teams are. I'm not saying they can stop him, but teams are getting wiser a bit more with Haaland because he is a great player. But I think there's certain things you can do to nullify him sometimes. Whereas I think you've seen Kane where, I'm not saying he's unstoppable, but I think So I'll say Bayern. Of course, then what Jude is doing for Madrid. I mean, you can't not look at them. Right. I mean, this guy's there's no striker, but he's just doing things. I think if they do what Madrid normally does with Jude in there, I can see them going far. But I think
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I think those are honestly, those are probably my teams as well. I think Man City has a very good chance to repeat. Their group is very, very easy. They didn't even get a Euro. Arsenal, we got a Europa League group. And I say we got a Europa League group because last year in the Europa League, we had PSV in our group and Sevilla is in our group. And Sevilla is only in the Champions League because they won the Europa League. So, and then the fourth team in our group is Lens from France. So we have a very easy group. But even though we have a Europa League group, I actually think Man City got a Conference League group. I mean, that group is terrible.
Yeah.
Outside of Leipzig, they have no challenge.
Young Boys.
Young Boys are going to get swatted like Young Boys, So I think City has a very good chance of repeating. I think Bayern with Kane is a very, very dangerous team. I'm interested to see what you think, Uche, if you guys would be able to win that group. Are you confident you can win that group today?
Nah, I'm not comfortable. I think the whole thing of the coefficient, blah blah. I think it's going to be it's a tricky group. I think that's the problem. You either just scrape through or damn Europa guys. Oh my word, can't do it, man.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you.
That's my fear. It's not. You can't say it's like Arsenal have an easy group, City have an easy group. We don't have an easy group.
Yeah.
So, but I do think Ten Hag. I think he looks. He looks forward to those kind of matchups and everything else. So I think it's going to be one of. If you just put aside, say if you lose twice to Bayern, it's fine. Then the other games,
you just have to beat. Yeah, you just have to beat Copenhagen and Galatasaray.
I actually think in your group, Uche, I don't really fear for you guys in like big games. Like I think you kind of step up to the occasion. Like it might not go your way. Sometimes you get beaten badly, but it's very rare. You normally hold your own. I actually think whoever's going to win your group is whoever can get 3 points in Turkey when they go to Galatasaray.
Yeah, that's true.
I do think United, if our players after this break, I think the key thing for United is not, I think with a fully fit squad, we'll definitely make it. I'm just concerned about the injuries. I think if we have a fully, our defenders and all the players back, I think we'll be fine. But if you have injuries again, that's the tricky thing. I'm happy I'm not better. So I think if the fully fit squad is there, I have no issues. I see us qualifying second after Bayern, or just
Okay.
I can see it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, so mine are Man City, Bayern, and then Real Madrid. I mean, that team is just a juggernaut. I think those are my three leaders going into the beginning of the Champions League of who I think could win. But yeah, what do you think, Tate?
Yeah, I'll go with. I think it's tight, but Bayern have a good shot because of Kane. I think just having a goal scorer, a proven goal scorer at the top end is key, especially in Champions League where it's a money game, as would refer to it as him.
Right.
And City, I think they've turned a corner in terms of like having that Champions League sort of confidence in handling big games and how well they can play. We used to lose to Lyon, as I said way back, but now I think we know how to handle games. So we're definitely in the running, and I think last one will be Real Madrid. But the key thing on Real Madrid is the keeper situation. So everywhere else they look strong.
Yeah.
Bellingham
Yeah.
is a key factor, but by keeper,
You don't trust Kepa. Didn't
no.
Kepa win the Champions League? Did he win with Chelsea? Wasn't he the keeper then?
Against City.
Against City, right?
That was a fluke.
Oh wow! Like
Oh,
you
he was
guys.
actually
Okay.
in goal.
I think he was in goal, but we'd have to go look back at the tapes and see. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was him who was in goal for that game.
Look,
Jedediah,
the good news for
are you
them
gonna round
is
us up? Yeah.
yeah, the good news for them, sorry, is in a month if he's still misfiring, De Gea is still a free agent guy, so it's not the end of the world.
Which is
With the
unbelievable.
gear.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think I kind of agree with everyone. So I'm just going to change one team. And because I think I've seen Xavi is doing some interesting things at Barca. So I think they've got I was going to put them initially on long shot, but I actually think they've got a good chance. He's definitely put a stamp on the team and they're playing quite well. So I think I'm going to say, um, I'm going to go City, Barca, and I'll give Madrid. Yeah, City, Barca, Madrid.
Okay. Who's your long shot? Give it to us really quickly. Who's your long shot to win?
My long shot would be then I'm gonna put, seeing as I didn't put Bayern there, I'm gonna put Bayern, and there's not really a long shot. Bayern, I think Inter has a chance to pull it, and then we'll just put PSG. Let's see if Mbappe can do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my long shot is definitely. I think PSG, because I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if Enrique is going to be able to get them up and running in time. So I think they're a long shot outsider to win. And then next to them, I would put Borussia Dortmund. They're just such a weird team. They're a weird team. But Dortmund could also come last in the group, and I wouldn't be surprised. So, so there's that. Yeah. Any other long shots, Ushe?
My I think it's the same. I'll just say PSG and Barca.
Yeah.
PSG because like this whole Mbappe thing. I think the Mbappe thing aside, I think they were actually recruiting smartly. I think they're moving away from this whole superstar thing to like a cohesive team. So I think if that actually pans out this first time around, you never know, maybe next year, but if it does click, I think they're good. Barca, in a sense, you don't know. Like, I mean, I think they have issues with Lewandowski. I don't think he's doing what they thought he would be doing. And I actually think I was actually impressed by what's his name, the former City guy actually playing now. I think he might be more.
Cancelo or
No,
Gundogan.
No, the striker guy, Fernand Torres. I'm surprised actually.
Ferran, yeah.
Yeah, because he's finally scoring the chances he kept missing last season. So I think when you add Gundogan, I mean, yeah, I think Barca might be an outside chance actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just got Shell Felix.
There you go.
I agree with Ushe there. The long shot is Barcelona. I think they recruited decently. The middle of the park is got a bit of experience now with Gundogan, so that should help. The kiddies, which is Pedri and Gavi, those guys are good, but I don't know if they can withstand like more physicality in midfield. But I think there's a good chance there because that team, if they play the Barcelona way, quarterfinals there.
Yeah. Who has no chance?
Arsenal.
Explain. Don't just say words. Don't just say words without explaining what you're saying.
You know what?
Explain why.
I get
Why?
this thing where I
Plenty
think
of words.
no, I think Arsenal. You know what? I mean, kudos. They're doing well, and Arteta doing better than I thought he would. But I like the United game as well. I think if United were, if we had certain players back and more clinical, would have destroyed Arsenal. Not destroyed per se, but we could have won that game comfortably. And I think in the Champions League, you get better teams. You get teams which will know they're more organized. And I think there's a certain confidence in Arsenal. You know, like for example, in the league where United scored and Arsenal score, the confidence is there. These guys are like, listen, you can see the goal, but I just see Champions League is going to be a thing where the group stages, you guys will go away nicely, but after that, I think you'll be in for like a rude awakening. Not that you're a rubbish team, but I just think the competition is something else. Like there's certain teams now, especially in the next round, that won't really that'll punish. Same thing with United. United will get punished proper as well. Probably say no chance United. I think in Champions League, when you're in the round of 16 or whatever round it is, there's just clinical teams, and I think Arsenal haven't been tested like that so far. You saw towards the end of last season when the pressure got a bit there, then they just buckled. I think the Champions League might do something similar.
I mean, speaking from personal desire, I think my expectation is the Arsenal come into the round of 8. So get through the groups. Again, our group is easy. If we don't top our group, that'll be very, very disappointing. And the questions should be asked. And then I think we can win that round of 16 game, mainly because we top our group and hopefully we miss all the big boys, because hopefully Barca tops their group, City tops their group, Real Madrid tops their group. I'm actually hoping United gets second, because that means Bayern tops the group, and we also can't play United. So there's just like ways like that. Because if United gets first, we might draw Bayern, and then that's it.
Tate, we're gonna draw Bayern. You know it's gonna happen. Just get used to it.
Yeah, that's true. We will draw Bayern. If United win that group and we win our group, we're playing Bayern in the round of 16, and I don't know that we can get by them right now. So I think round of 8. For me, no chance. It has to be. It's going to be Newcastle. That group of theirs is a group of complete death.
Yes.
I mean,
That is a beautiful group.
Yeah,
forgot about
PSG,
that.
Dortmund, Milan, Newcastle. Like, I'm excited for you, Newcastle. You're in the Champions League for the first time in 20 years. But there's no way. There's no way you're getting out of that group, right? You have no chance. You'll be lucky to make Europa League. We'll see. I mean, maybe they're better than Milan. They took one of Milan's best players, but I don't know. I think the thing with the Champions League, like you said, Ushe, which people disregard a lot, and I take you also spoke about this, is Champions League experience is extremely vital. So even if you're not like the best team on the night, the fact that your team has a pedigree in the Champions League elevates you. So Milan is Champions League royalty.
Yeah.
So even if on paper their team is not as good as Newcastle's, I think when it comes to those games in the San Siro and that game at St. James's Park, I think Newcastle will be rattled.
Yeah.
And Newcastle hasn't started off the season well. They've lost 3, right? They've lost 3
and to your point, they've shown their naivety, like how they lost to 10 men against Liverpool. Why were they leaving themselves so open when they had a 1-0 lead against 10 men? They were just supposed to keep the ball.
And playing more games, midweek games, which they weren't doing last year, that's going to be serious. Yeah.
So Newcastle has no chance for me. Who else has no chance?
I changed mine to Tate's point. I changed mine to Newcastle as well.
I mean, I'm going for Atletico de Madrid. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why. What's his name?
Diego.
Yeah, Diego. I feel like he should have left like 3 years ago. I think now it's just I don't know. Like, even when I've watched them play, they can get results, but I think it's now kind of stale. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's been the same. How long has he been there? Like 15 years now?
Really?
I think so, because it was like 2012, 2010, 2011 when they were going to Champions League finals with the Diego Costas of this world and things like that. So I think he's been there 12, 13, maybe 15 years as their manager. So it's a long time. It's a long time to be in the same place. Tate, who has no chance?
Man United.
You know what, man? Listen. This guy.
It's like
such statements.
No, but because, like, Newcastle, right? I knew they were going to be in trouble because once you're sitting in pot 4, you're asking for trouble. You're literally asking for trouble. So, and that was Man City. I was trying to find the group. Our group on our first year back or on our first year in Champions League 11-12, we
Uh-huh.
had Napoli and I can't remember the other teams that we had. But that group was just a group of death, and we couldn't even survive. I think we got knocked out very early. So I
Yeah.
knew Newcastle were in trouble. So these guys, they need this to knock them down to earth.
Yeah.
But for someone who has high hopes, I think Manu will have hopes to progress. I think they won't go too far. That's one. Two, my big prediction is that looking at how things are going at Man United, I don't even know if Ten Hag will finish this season, to be honest, because
Mm.
that
Wow.
if
Yeah.
you're a betting man, just go throw that bet in, because this lot, if the team bans against him and they say, okay, we're gonna stand with Sancho or whatever, then this goes one way.
Can
You
I
know what
just
I mean?
comment? Really?
So go for
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit back and allow such blasphemy from City fans. I mean, you know, listen, number one, the players have actually come out and said they actually not against Sancho per se, but they actually don't like his training habits. And number two, it's something
Yeah.
that England, Dortmund have noted before. It's a common thing, and I think the certain professional thing. And number three, United, where we are at the moment. I mean, I think we all thought the Glazers were sold by now. So you find that the
right.
way Ten Hag's operating, it's not even a thing of saying we've given you everything you want, so deliver. The club knows very well that they're underperforming to this guy. So I think having him number one, it's more so him. He won't leave per se, but I don't think his job's in danger. You know, like the press already on Twitter today saying things like, "Oh, is Ten Hag under pressure?" He's not under pressure. The Glazers are actually the ones confusing things. There's so much going on basically. So I think he just needs to steady the ship, and he's shown that very well. If you give the guy like a proper the transfers he wants, for example, the Kim guy at Bayern Munich, to Debo, you get all the players that have gone elsewhere. Had he gotten his preferred choices right and Amrabat before the season started, I think you'll see something different. And so, and I also do think that the club really wanted to bring in Mason Greenwood. So I think they actually had him in their plans. So if you look at
Mm-hmm.
where he is now, I think the club understands that, listen, you've not been given. So you need also the FFP thing. That's been a big hamper. So to actually get the players they've had, I think has been good. So I don't think he's in danger. And also the Champions League, given the way we look at the squad, guys, our squad is thin. Again, fun
Yeah.
enough. So I do think more so. I think he'll deliver his Ten Hag magic, but he can't go another season like this. But I think he's not in danger. I think he's fine, and also managing this
But
whole thing, the dramas, and I think he's doing very well. So people outside try and make it seem bad, but we're okay, man. We're good. We're good.
But this guy's he's spending money though. 'Cause how much was Hoyland? It was like 70 million.
Yeah. No. The thing
Yeah.
is, Hoyland, I believe, you know what? When you went into the summer and you knew that, for example, that we're never going to get Harry Kane, right? So you can sit there and say, what do we do and stuff? And Osimhen, for example, 150 million, no. So I think Hoyland is and I mean, fine, it's a small cameo, but I think he's a very good player. But I do think it was going to be Hoyland back and Mason Greenwood coming in. So I think trying to deal with that. But I think Hoyland will be a very good player. You find that I think they've been linked to some of the player in January, so another striker. So I think 70 million, yes, on Hoyland, Mason Mount, all those things. There's certain things FFP wise where you could have gotten maybe Amrabat first and all those things. But I think at that point, if Chelsea are selling for that price, someone else, Liverpool could have taken Mason Mount. So I do think, yes, you could have done better in some aspects, but I think he's doing a very good job. I think even now, the way we are, given where we are, people forget the injuries we had, even going to the Arsenal game. I think he's done very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think he's that
Yeah.
kind of coach. He knows right now. Of course, the world make it seem like United, but I think the people know in the club that, listen, just get us through this spell right now, this little storm, and we'll be fine after the window, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what's required at United, not for Ten Hag, it's for the wider public on X or Twitter or whatever we call it now, is just calm down,
Yeah.
United fans, and also open your eyes and watch the game as the game. You know, there's so much talk about this and that. I'm like, that's not how it's happening. So we'll see. But gentlemen, it's been a good discussion. Very excited for this Champions League. Very excited to see how the rest of the season goes. You know, 4 games in, it's looked good for some of our teams. Honestly, it's probably looked good for most of our teams that are speaking here. I mean, yes, United lost to Arsenal, but again, you didn't have Varane, you didn't have an actual striker. Anthony Martial, I used to love that guy. He's just he's a paperweight, is what he is.
You can buy him from us.
So
You can buy him.
I don't want him anymore.
Come on.
I wanted him 3 seasons ago, and you wouldn't give him to me.
Give me a
So anyway, no, we'll swap him for Pepe. How's that?
No. No, it's okay. Never mind.
Well, guys, thanks for being here. Let's get you out on this. What are you watching this weekend?
Wait, sorry. No, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go for it.
Well, there's no Premier League, but I think it's a good sporting weekend. I'm hoping there's Alcaraz versus Djokovic part 2. It looks quite likely. And then tomorrow there's France versus New Zealand, and then Sunday South Africa versus Scotland. So Rugby World Cup. So that's what I'll have my eyes on.
Yeah. Uche, you were gonna say something?
Oh yeah. What I was gonna say. Okay, first thing I was gonna say, guys. I think every week when we do this thing, when we sign out, can we just note that City 115 charges and corruption, everything they've won doesn't count. So can I just say before we go, let's forget that even this whole thing, City is illegally doing what they're doing, so it doesn't count. So let's not forget that. So I'm glad that we all remember this now. So going forward, I was hoping there's Formula One. I'm not sure if there's Formula One this weekend, but
next week, Singapore.
Yeah, it's quite. We're not gonna watch Max win another race. So I think that's makes it lovely weekend for me. I'm enjoying it even more. I'm watching. It's the beginning of the NFL season, so tonight's the first NFL game, Thursday night.
Who's
and
playing?
then this weekend we'll have the NFL back.
Who is Uche?
He is no longer with us apparently. So I'm watching the NFL, and I'm excited about that and looking forward to that happening. And then I'm also got my eyes on the Rugby World Cup. Or it's warm-ups, right? Because the World Cup starts next week.
No, the World Cup starts tomorrow.
Does it start this week?
Yes.
Oh, it
It's
starts
a proper
tomorrow.
thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
So New Zealand, France is the first New Zealand game. We'll see what happens there. Tate, what are you watching?
I'm with Kyo. The U.S. Open final, which is most likely Alcaraz and Djokovic, and then I think if Coco manages to make it to the final, that'll be a good final for her to win a championship, and then the last one will be rugby. I think 1 or 2 matches will be good.
All right, Uche, were you done with what you were saying, or do you have more?
Sorry, guys, I was hacked by City. I mentioned the charges in my phone. Connection went down. City, I was hacked, but I'm back. So I was going to say the US Open final. Yeah, just watch that. And then I think just leave sport for some bit because I need to relax. I think United has stressed me out so far. So I just need to take a breather from sport until we come back. No one who watches internationals. I don't think anyone does that. So yeah.
No,
I don't even know who's playing, honestly.
If it's not a tournament, I'm not interested, really.
Yeah, I know our players are gone, but I don't care who they're playing. It's not going to change anything for me.
Exactly.
Well, cool, gentlemen. It's been good. Glad to catch you on this one. We'll catch you on the next one, which will be after the Premier League is back, and we can see if our teams are advancing or they look terrible. For the rest of the Choms community, this has been Chibububu. Peace.
we out.
Peace
Cheers,
out.
guys.